My fellow readers, I, Dark Symphony 777, with a fan fiction reading. As always, a link to the story will be in the description below. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, click on that bell for notifications, leave a comment in the comment section below on your thoughts of the story and any future fan fictions you want me to read or review. And now I have a Discord. If you want to join me and friend me on Discord, I'll be leaving a link to it in the description below. So, I thought I'd finish going through Undertale. When I was re-looking for Alphys and the Queen, I actually came across this story, and I actually wanted to do a reading of it. It's called Muffet versus a Girl Scout. Yeah. And it's basically just a Muffet. Muffet, the spider girl, second best spider waifu. We all know who the best spider waifu is. I don't need to pull up a picture of her, but you know who I'm talking about. And she's going against a Girl Scout. That's pretty much the entire story. Right here! Nah, I'm kidding. So it's written by O1 Kraz. So let's get started. Muffet versus Girl Scout. Lily Treffa has been in the scamming business her whole Girl Scout career. In past years, her big eyes, floppy pigtails, charming smile, and innocent demeanor has caused monster and human alike to lose large amounts of money to her. After all, who would suspect an innocent little angel of being the reason wealthy businessmen suddenly find themselves 2 zeros short of $1 million? That's actually kind of a funny image. It's like, can I have $2? Okay. Here's your check. Yes, now I can add this. Wait. Girl Scout! I really do. That's actually pretty funny. But I'm thinking that she probably got older? Because it's making it sound like she's slightly older. But now that she was a preteen with clunky braces, aha, there it is. Lily knew her time of swindling wealthy tycoons was drawing to a close. So, as any decent human being will do, she decided she'd end her Girl Scout scam years with a bang. Her target? Muffet, the spider monster. Yeah, Muffet's a cheapskate. It's like, yeah, I must have all the money. No, Muffet, you are the money. And then Muffet was a coin. Fun fact about... fun fact about me, I was actually an unofficial member of the Girl Scouts. Really only a member in name only, but I was still classified as a member. I'd like to thank my cousin for that. Let's continue. Everyone who is anyone knew of the famous chain bakery, notably called Muffet's Bakery for Spiders, and consequently, everyone also knew how stingy Muffet was with her earnings. Well, yeah, she has to have all the money to go to her spider friends. It's like, we must save the spiders. Lily wanted to go down in Girl Scout and possibly international history as the one who successfully swindled the Princess of Spiders. Lily, no one's gonna know who you are in about 10 years. You're just gonna be a footnote. It was an ambition and near impossible goal. But Lily was stubborn. She wanted to do this. And she was going to. Nothing was going to stand in her way. Except for maybe that. Lily let out a large gasp when a giant muffin on 6 legs jumped out of the bushes in front of her. The creature let out a series of chirps and waved its 2 front legs. Lily sighed in relief when she realized the animal wasn't going to attack her. No, but it looks like the animal's going to give her subliminal messages. Ooh. I couldn't resist. I couldn't resist. She recognized it as I'm reading that wrong. She recognized it from some of the articles she had found online about Muffet. This was Muffet's prized pet, Mr. Tuffet. Lily had heard rumors about Mr. Tuffet, ranging from he was a spider-esque version of a dog, to Mr. Tuffet was Muffet's personal executioner to eliminate any competition in the bakery field. Now, Tuffet's just his pet. Lily, however, knew that Mr. Tuffet was more of an innocent spider puppy who'd do anything his master asked of him. She also knew that the spider muffin couldn't resist a tasty treat. "Hey, little guy," Lily said in a cheerful voice. "What are you doing all the way out here?" She knelt down so she was eye to eye with the creature and reached out a hand to pet it. Mr. Tuffet let off and hustled backwards a few steps, clearly untrusting of Lily. Not good, Lily thought to herself. Mr. Tuffet was often Muffet's first line of scam sniffers. If Mr. Tuffet didn't trust someone, neither did Muffet. It's going to get confusing saying Muffet and Tuffet over and over and over again. I hope Tuffet doesn't show up throughout the entire story. Lily put on her most charming smile and reached into her Girl Scout messenger bag, containing a box of her top 3 sellers. "Is it going to be Samoas?" "No. It's going to be a Thin Mint." She debated a moment over which cookie she was going to sacrifice to Mr. Tuffet, then pulled out her cookie of choice and held it out on her palm. "It's okay, little guy," she spoke softly. "I'm not gonna hurt you." She stretched her arm out a little more to emphasize her point. Mr. Tuffet gazed curiously at the cookie and sniffed the air before stepping forward an inch. "It's all right," Lily coaxed. "This is for you, see?" She broke the cookie in half and began eating the smaller piece that broke off. She knew Mr. Tuffet wasn't one to be cautious around food. She'd seen reports of him tackling a friendly monster human that offered him food. So she deduced that it was food offered from a stranger that was making him cautious. Lily couldn't really blame him, but at the same time, she really needed this little critter's trust or her plan would be dead in the water. She gestured for Mr. Tuffet to eat the cookie again as she took another bite, and to her immense joy, he came closer. The pretty teen barely had to wait a second before Mr. Tuffet jumped forward, snatched the cookie from her outstretched hand, and jumped back before he began loudly nibbling on the addicting treat. Girl Scouts cookies are addicting. I agree with that. Especially Samoas. Samoas are so good. Oh, that cookie. The cookies are so delicious. Nutritious. No, not nutritious. I need to stay on topic. Reading this story wants me to have give me a mood for Girl Scout cookies. Let's see, where was I? Let's see. Hungry little thing, aren't? Okay, let's hear. Let's see. Before loudly nibbling on the addicting treat, Lily giggled at the way Mr. Tuffet chittered excitedly as he feasted and stood, dusting off any crumbs that had fallen onto her lap. "Hungry little thing, aren't you?" she asked with a smile. Mr. Tuffet responded by jumping up and down before running up to her and began to paw her leg with one of his little spider legs. Lily awed and leaned down to pet him, only for Mr. Tuffet to leap upwards, jaw unnaturally wide. Lily shrieked in surprise and tried to jump backwards, only to be caught up in Mr. Tuffet's enormous mouth with her arms and legs dangling out of his mouth. Without any regard for Lily's comfort in her new contortion position in his mouth, Mr. Tuffet zoomed off in the direction of his master's home, eager to show off the giver of such tasty food that didn't even have a single spider in his recipe. That's kind of cannibalism. Like, I have a spider cookie for you. Oh boy, what's it made of? Spiders. Yeah, it's good. So good. As Mr. Tuffet hastily ran into his large home, Muffet was lounging. Dang it. I was hoping this wasn't going to happen. Muffet was lounging in one of her many living rooms, sprawled out on a purple sofa in her nightgown with her waist-length, silky black hair freed from their pigtails, smoking a it was weird for a little bit. Smoking a before bedtime spider stoogie, a special cigar made from webs and spiders. Does she actually smoke in the game? I never played Undertale. I know of the characters. I didn't want to do any spoilers. All I know of are the characters and some of the that neutral ending I talked about in Alphys and the Queen review. That's about it. So I don't even know what part of the story Muffet's in. All I know is I really did not want to say Tuffet and Muffet and like in the same sentence. That's going to be annoying if it continues on. A special cigar. Okay, but I'd like to know, does she actually smoke in the game? She was winding down from a long day's work of selling goods and caring for her spiders, as well as trying to make some new recipes for her baking. It had been a prosperous day, as all days were for her, but Muffet found she enjoyed lazily watching some bakery TV shows with her spiders after a long day's work. Tonight had been Georgie's turn, where was it? Oh yeah. For TV show picking, and a small spider had chosen Cupcake Wars for the night's entertainment. Said spider was currently nestled in between Muffet's neck and shoulder, munching continually on a spider donut. Spider don't. Oh, is that supposed to say spider donut? That's just really just say spider donut. It's much easier than whatever this is. Other spiders rested on around Muffet as they all watched the TV screen, giggling and critiquing every move the bakers made. A few had made it their jobs to openly and loudly insult the baker's methods and choice in flavors decorations. Probably because it wasn't spider-themed. Causing the occasional ripple of laughter from the spider audience. After a few minutes in the episode, one of Muffet's messenger spiders, Callie, came up to her with a telegram from the spiders inhabiting the lower levels of her house. My pet has captured a human, you say? Muffet giggled. Mon Dieu, this is certainly a sticky situation, isn't it, dearies? The spiders around her laughed at her little joke, and Muffet shooed the spiders, using her as a cushion off so she can make her way down. Using classic spider transportation, she grabbed onto a single threaded spider web and descended down to the level where her pet and her new guest was waiting. Upon entering said level, another spider awaited her presence, waving its 2 forelegs to grab Muffet's attention before leading her to the room where Mr. Tuffet was. Muffet took a drag from her cigar as she walked in, surprise filling her features when she saw Mr. Tuffet bouncing up and down with a human in his jaws. Oh my, what have you got here, mon petit muffin? Muffet cooed, giggling to herself. All right, Mr. Tuffet, release the human. She ordered. Mr. Tuffet quickly complied and promptly spat out Lily on the floor, who was covered in crumbs, Mr. Tuffet's version of drool. Sorry, dearie, my little pet can be a bit excitable sometimes. Muffet offered one of her lower arms to Lily, who accepted the offer of help and stood, brushing the multitude of crumbs off her. Spiders came around and began salvaging the crumbs to be used in recipes calling for a crumb-style crust, or to be used for midnight snacks later on. No, it's fine, ma'am. I have to do her voice now. Lily said, admittedly picking up her confused and scared, yet polite act. Lily dedicated herself to brushing out the last bit of crumbs for her hair, clothing, and accessories before dressing Muffet. Mr. Tuffet, on the other hand, had no intention of waiting and began nuzzling at Lily's messenger bag, letting out small clicking noises which Muffet recognized as pleading for more food. Seeing her pet insistent on getting into the messenger bag, Muffet immediately assumed the human girl was here in an attempt to steal her recipes for her baked goods. Not one to accuse someone without proof, Muffet decided to play along with the role of aloof but generous millionaire. I can already tell this is going to go to shit. Muffet smiled sweetly at Lily, showing off her fangs. Oh, but my cherry, I should be the one to apologize. My silly little pet can be handful. Said pet let out a little whine, and Lily was astounded to see it clearly pouting up at Muffet. The Spider Princess simply laughed and reached out one hand to Mr. Tuffet to come to, which the Spider Muffin did with great enthusiasm. He chirred happy as Muffet patted her pet's head. Come into my parlor, ma chérie, Muffet invited, placing a head on Lily's back as she guided the human girl to a sofa run over by spiders. Muffet waved them off, and the many spiders moved away so Lily had a spot to sit comfortably. Muffet took a particularly large drag from her cigar as she sat herself across the web-themed coffee table of another sofa, the same length and design as the one Lily rested on. The pair sat in silence for a moment, Muffet trying to figure out what Lily was doing here, and Lily trying to figure out the best way to get Muffet's guard down. After a while, Lily finally noticed the lack of ashes in the air and stared curiously at Muffet's fat purple cigar. Every time Muffet breathed out a cloud of smoke, the smell of a bakery filled the air, filling Lily with a sense of contentment and relaxation that only a bakery filled with the scent of fresh hot bread could only do. Lily then noticed that the cigar was made completely out of webbing and spiders. She decided to file that information at the back of her head. Maybe she can use that later in order to soften the spider monster up enough where she would be in a generous mood. So, tell me, mon petit retrousse, what are you doing out here at this hour? Muffet asked in an attempt to make conversation. I was trying to sell Girl Scout cookies for my troop, Lily said proudly, brandishing her pin-heavy sash wrapped around her torso. Oh, Muffet raised an eyebrow. Oh, she asked. Is that what my pet is after? She gestured to the spider muffin still clawing at the messenger bag. Lily let out a sweet, innocent giggle and pulled out another cookie. I bumped into him when I got lost in the neighborhood, the human explained. Oh, he's just cute to not give a treat, Lily praised, trying to get on Muffet's good side. I got so focused on selling treats today, Lily continued, answering Muffet's early question, I completely lost track of time and wound up in this part of town. Muffet kept a charming and unsuspecting smile on her face. She didn't believe this girl's story one bit. Except for the part about her precious little Mr. Tuffet being the cutest little crumpet on the block. That was believable. Oh yeah, it's your bet. It's your pet, Muffet. What was unbelievable was the fact that a young human, not quite as young as little Frisk when they broke the barrier, with no other chaperone or partner, Muffet took a particularly large drag of her cigar, allowing herself to think some more before having to respond to Lily's obviously fake story. Mamadou, you certainly had a busy day, haven't you, petite? Muffet cooed. Lily nodded sheepishly. Lily watched in silence as some spiders descended from the ceiling holding a tray of tea and began serving it to Muffet and herself. Lily took a moment to stare in awe at the scurrying little arachnids serving tea like it was nothing before reminding herself why she was really here. Food? Muffet offered, gesturing to a small plate with pastries on the coffee table. Yes, please, Lily said enthusiastically. Picking up a small chocolate cookie, it was only after she took a bite and swallowed that she realized the chocolate was actually a spider. What are these spiders made of? If all these recipes make spiders, one, what do they taste like? And two, how does she keep making more? Huh. I don't know. Hastily finished the cooking. She wasn't about to spit up the cookie in shock after all. That's how wars start. I can imagine finding a story where that's actually how a fight starts. It's like, no, wait. No, that reminds me of Borderlands 2. It's like, yeah, give me some chocolate. This is oatmeal raisin? No! You gotta destroy those cookie machines, man. This is not. Chocolate chip, the best cookie in the world. I can't sound like Tiny Tina. I can't sound like Tina worth a dang. Where was I? Lily began to move on to the next part of her plan. Oh, she explained, clapping her hands together. I just remembered. Lily giggled innocently and took out her best-selling Girl Scout cookie and proudly displayed it on her. It's Thin Mints. We all know. You don't say Girl Scout cookies. Just say Thin Mints because obvious it's gonna be Thin Mints because that's like their most popular cookie. Would you like to buy a box of Girl Scout cookies? Each purchase helps an animal in need. Muffet puffed a cloud of smoke out that briefly took the shape of a croissant and said, no. Lily blinked, her thought process briefly thrown off. That fast a rejection? Normally when people said no, they were more hesitant or remorseful even. Then again, she wasn't exactly dealing with a normal victim here. I wonder who's more cheap, Muffet or Mr. Krabs? Someone make a story about that. Would you like to sample one anyway? Lily asked, regaining her mental plan of action. Muffet, still cautious of the girl, looked to Mr. Tuffet, who trilled excitedly and bounced up and down on his tilted legs. Muffet shrugged and moved from her sofa to sitting next to Lily, who pulled out a cookie from the unopened box she was holding in her lap. Lily held the cookie out to Muffet, who, instead of taking it with one of her arms, leaned forward and ate the entire cookie in one bite. Now, as Lily had worked with various monsters before, this next part didn't really scare her as much as it did take her by surprise. When Muffet opened her mouth to eat the cookie, her mandible shot out of her mouth and ended up swallowing Lily in the process. Does this author have a vor fetish? Like, that's like the second time she was eaten. With the cupcake thing, I can understand, but with Muffet, I don't know. Food for thought? No, thank you. I'm going to eat you. Nom 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 nom. Let's see. The human girl let out a startled squeal as she traveled down the monster's throat and landed in her stomach. It just turned out in straight up vor. Okay. Oopsies. Muffet's voice was muffled by the stomach walls, and Lily reminded herself not to think how breathing worked while she was in a monster's stomach again. Okay. Sorry, dearie. I wasn't paying enough attention when I ate that cookie. Muffet let out a laugh that sounded like the slightest bit embarrassed. My apologies, she said. Lily covered her mouth with her hand so as not to get anything inside of her mouth. It's all right, ma'am, she said calmly. This isn't the first time this has happened to me. Lily felt embarrassed around her, jerks around slightly, and guessed Muffet jumped in a bit of surprise. You've been swallowed by a monster before? She asked, shocked but also slightly less embarrassed. Lily nodded, then remembered Muffet couldn't see her. She knew these accidental swallow incidents never lasted long, as she was always regurgitated a few minutes later, so she spent it regaling Muffet with the previous time she had been accidentally swallowed. After around 5 minutes, Lily was spit back up, slightly damp with spit. Muffet, feeling slightly bad about the incident, directed Lily to a guest bathroom she could use. Lily took the quickest shower of her life and switched to some spare clothes the spiders had laid out. After she was clean, she rejoined Muffet in the same living room as before. Muffet waved the girl over, and Lily briefly thought she saw a small spider crawl out of her bag and in between the cushions. So sorry for that again, dearie, Muffet apologized. It's really no big deal, miss. Oh, Lily assured. Like I said, it's not the first time this has happened, so I wasn't really worried. Muffet took a thoughtful drag from her stogie. Speaking of which... Why do I sound like a gangster? Speaking of which... Yeah, Muffet said, eyeing Lily suspiciously. Aren't you a little young to have been wandering around and getting swallowed by other monsters? Now, Lily Truffle was never one to take being doubted very lightly. She once scammed the CEO of an inspirational magnet company. Age didn't matter because she had the skill to back it up. So, out of pure spite, Lily leaned forward and snatched up a small box that was rested on the coffee table since she had come out. She knew what it was. Plenty of the big shots she scammed out before had these proudly displayed on their desk like it was the Mona Lisa or something. Opening the little box, Lily was pleased to confirm she was correct. This was a cigar box. Not the kind you get at a gas station where everything's put together and you just need to light it. Oh no, this was a roll it up on your own cigar box. And inside it was webbing that vaguely had the sensation of stiff silk and a smaller section containing spiders. Dead ones, alright. So it's dead spiders that she cooks? Okay. Lily held back a quick sniff of disgust and took a hefty pinch of dried up spiders and sprinkled them into a sheet of cigar webbing, then rolled it up. Muffet watched, amused, as Lily tried to get the roll to stay rolled up, only for it to reopen. The spider monster chuckled and nodded to a nearby spider who hopped onto Lily's cigar and applied a sticky substance which made the cigar stick. Lily nodded her thanks to Muffet and the spider before rummaging through her bag for something else. Now was the perfect time to show off one of her badges. Grabbing a box of matches from her bags, Lily made a show of taking one of the small purple-tipped matches. Crossing her legs so one foot was elevated in the air, Lily stuck the tip of the match on her shoe sole, causing the match to explode in a purple spark. Muffet stared curiously at the match, which was emitting a purple-blue glow instead of the normal yellow. Lily grinned smugly as she lit her cigar. She didn't earn that firework chemistry bag for nothing. Actually, it was her accidental creation of potassium-laced strike anywhere matchsticks that got her that badge. Stealing herself, Lily raised the fat purple cigar, a very messy version compared to Muffet's, but still an admirable look-alike, to her lips and took in a slow breath. You are a preteen and you're smoking a cigar. Lady, you got some balls on you. Trying to recall all the lessons other businessmen had given her on how to blow a smoke ring, they never gave her a cigar to try it on, but that never stopped the old fools from talking. Paired with how she'd seen Muffet make smoked pastries, Lily attempted to blow a smoked cookie. The smoke that curled out of her mouth began as a lavender bubble, but slowly it began to take the vague shape of a Girl Scout cookie. Granted, it was very sloppy and poorly done smoked cookie, but for the first time ever blowing a smoked pastry, Lily had done a good job. Muffet was impressed, which was in feat in itself. Muffet leaned back and made a spider cookie to accompany the Girl Scout cookie. Magnifique! Muffet praised, clapping one set of her arms. Très bien for you this time. Blowing a smoked pastry, dearie. Lily beamed under the praise and smiled humbly. Lily, knowing her business, knew that from this point on, Muffet was going to be easy to manipulate. All she had to do now was flatter Muffet into a giggling mess, and then Lily would whip out her handy-dandy cookie order for him, and BAM! Muffet's been scammed. And Lily would be long gone. Okay, let's see how this plays out. Who's gonna win? Muffet or Lily? Or Tuffet? For the next few minutes, Lily used her charismatic personality to charm Muffet through jokes, flattery, and simple idle chatter. Muffet, the schemer she was, knew where this was headed, but played along with the human child. It had been a while since she'd been able to have a little fun anyway, might as well enjoy it. Lily, however, was devoting every ounce of energy and charm into buttering Muffet up. After all, her scam policy had always been flatter the donor until they want to give, and by the time the pair had been talking for nearly an hour, Lily was sure Muffet was ready to crack. After Muffet had completed telling the story of the time when a certain internet-famous skeleton had attempted to bait Muffet's recipes and the disaster that followed, I want to read a story about that. Hey, Muffet. Sans? Yeah? You set my kitchen on fire. Sorry, but it looked like a tale of hotness to tell. But just get out, Sam. Just get out. Out. Spikers. Yeah, okay. Okay. Let's see. Yep. Okay, Lily was beginning to make her move. Speaking of failed advertisements, Lily said, shuffling through her messenger bag, would it be alright if I tried to convince you to buy one of my boxes? The human girl asked sweetly, tacking on a wide, grace-filled smile at the end of her request. Muffet still stifled a giggle. The whole innocent thing didn't flow so well with a giant purple spider stogie sticking out to the side. The spider monster tapped her chin, debating her options. Sure, why not? Muffet said finally, popping the spider candy in her mouth. Lily gasped in excitement. Really? She said cheerfully, acting like a 6-year-old who was told they could have an extra serving of ice cream. Muffet nodded and gestured for Lily, beginning her convincing. Lily nodded, straightened up, and displayed a box of cookies proudly on her knees. Would you like to buy some Girl Scout cookies? She asked with a smile, repeating her earlier attempt at advertisement. All proceeds go to a charity of your choosing. Muffet giggled. Let's try charity, dearie, but I already got all the spider's charities I need. Lily blinked in surprise. She knew the charity of your choice thing never got anyone's attention, but the fact that Muffet had already gotten the satisfactory amount of private-owned organizations was surprising. Until this moment, Lily had yet to meet a single rich business owner who was satisfied with anything. Well, this Muffet certainly was a challenge Lily refused to back down from. Better take this to the next level then, Lily thought to herself. Well then, may I ask that you just buy 2 boxes? Lily asked hesitantly. Muffet raised an eyebrow. Well, at least that's what it looked like. Lily never recalled seeing an eyebrow on the Spider-Woman. Buy only 2, Sherry? Muffet asked, twirling the cigar in her hand. Surely you want me to buy more, correct? Lily blushed shyly and nodded. Yes, but I'm only 5 boxes away from meeting my goal, and I know my grandparents will end up buying 3 boxes, she admitted. And what exactly is this goal? Muffet asked, eyeing the girl suspiciously. To reach 1,000 boxes sold, she stated proudly. Muffet whistled and clasped her hands. Impressionant! Muffet complimented. She had to admit, this girl had ambitions. Give her a job! Lily thanked the monster and took on a melancholy expression. Muffet inwardly sighed. She knew what was next. The puppy dog eyes. What's wrong, Sherry? She asked, not really meaning it, but making it sound as if she did. I just... Lily bit her lip as she began to cry on command. My last year in the Scouts, she admitted, feeling tears stream down her face. Once I graduate, there's no other faction to go into because this branch of Girl Scouts is so secluded. Lily wiped away some tears. We'll just go to, Venture Scouts. No, yeah, Venture Scouts. Go to Venture Scouts. It's something. Lily wiped away some tears and made it look like she was regaining her composure. I wanted to do something special for my troop because they've done so much for me, but I didn't reach the goal and we have to turn in our profits in 2 days. The next few tears Lily shed were true. She didn't want to grow up and leave her circle of Girl Scouts who had been with her since her first scam. Truthfully, it was because of her friend circle in the Scouts that got her into scamming in the first place. It started out as a joke, seeing how many lollipops they can convince adults to give them, but then it blossomed into something far more ambitious. As Lily was taking a trip down memory lane, a small spider, near invisible if you weren't looking at it, came up to Muffet's shoulder and whispered something into her ear. Are you sure? Muffet asked quietly. When the spider gave an affirmative, Muffet waved the spider off and gained Lily's attention. It appears I owe you a possibly petite, she said, blowing a cupcake shake smoke. Lily suffered a mini heart attack. Had the spider found out? Was her scam over before it begun? Oh, dear sweet mother of baby Jesus, she knew this day would come, but why did it have to be now? I had my spider spying on you since you got here, Muffet said calmly, completely unaware of Lily's frantic internal monologue. I was suspicious you were sent here to spy on me and discover my methods of for baking and my recipes. Lily could only stare in shock. Spy? She repeated. Muffet nodded. I spent my tinier spiders to look for any recording devices in your bag and any accessories you had. Muffet shrugged and leaned back into her sofa. Don't take it personally, Chef. It's just my business. But not to worry. My spiders have determined you to be a trustworthy customer. So I have no more reason to be hostile towards you. Lily's only response was a slack-jaw expression. This was by far been the most interesting scam she's ever been on. Why would you expect me of being a spy? Lily blurted out. I mean, what would I even be spying on? Before Muffet could reply, a distant explosion rocked the entire mansion, mimicking the effects of a 4.0 on the Richter scale. Furniture wobbled, chandeliers swung, the teacups on the table rattled frantically, and some spiders even fell off the ceiling and onto Lily during the 5 seconds of ground shaking. Lily, being the logical-minded person she was, instantly tried to duck under the coffee table, whereas Muffet simply giggled and daintily sipped her tea. Once the shaking stopped, Lily slowly came out of her hiding spot, staring wildly at Muffet, who had sat her on her sofa like nothing had happened. Let's just say my baking methods are attributed to explosive inducing. Muffet giggled as a charred-looking spider parachuted down from the ceiling and handed to Muffet a giant piece of paper. Reading the paper, Muffet was informed the new baking soda bomb baking method she was testing was in fact effective, but it was highly volatile and should be tested much more before being used for public consumption. Unsurprising, yet not unexpected. At this point, Lily got the extreme impression that she shouldn't try to mess with Muffet. You don't say! So she did what any sane person would do. She continued with her scam plan. Clearing her throat, Lily tried to advise her cookies one more time. So, now that we established I'm not a spy, Lily gestured to the bags. Wanna buy Girl Scout cookies? Muffet sighed. The girl was so persistent, she'd give her that much. Very well, she said, waving her span. I'll take 10 boxes for the price of 2. Lily clapped her hands together in excitement and pulled out her order form. Right, oh, she said eagerly. 10 prices for the box of 2. Way. She paused to give Muffet a perplexed look. 10 boxes for the price of 2. Muffet giggled and gestured to the food spread between them. But of course, dear, how else do you pick to pay for the tea, cigar, and shower? Oh! She got out scammed. I like that. Muffet said this as it was the most obvious thing in the world. And for the first time in Lily's scamming career, she'd never been more pleased to scam someone. Right, she stuttered, trying not to give in to a grin that was threatening to break onto her face. Lily completed signing and dating the parts of the order for she needed to do and handed Muffet the clipboard with 5 pages of back-to-back writing and signing areas. Knowing how people are with infamous terms and license, Lily expected Muffet to simply sign all the circled areas and hand it back to her. So Lily fished out 2 unopened boxes she had in her bag and set them on the table, only to see Muffet staring very intently on the papers. I sense something bad's about to happen. Miss Muffet, Lily asked, suddenly having the urge to run. Are you reading everything? Because you only need to sign 3 spots and I can put your order in for you, she said sweetly. Muffet simply flipped the page and continued reading. I am well aware how to fill out the order form, petite, she said coolly. I have simply made it a habit to read other terms and licenses. Just in case. Lily's face paled. No one reads the terms and license. Even when she went to this one super picky accounting guy, he just got to page 2 before giving up. Her tiny scamming method relied on people not reading the terms and licenses. Lily had to take a moment and remind herself to calm down. Maybe Muffet wouldn't notice. Maybe she's just the kind of person to lazily scan over the page and not really read. Maybe she's the kind of person who says they'll do one thing just to get people uncomfortable. Yeah, that had to be right. Right? Unfortunately for this human, this particular spider monster read everything. And boy, was the spider ticked. More like pissed, I'm guessing. How much you want to get this? Before I finish the story, I'm just going to guess. Lily's going to go right into Muffet's stomach one last time before going. I'm just guessing. Cackling lowly, Muffet turned the clipboard over and pointed at a specific passage before reading out loud. Page 3, paragraph 4. In accordance to the deal made between Girl Scout Cooper, Lily Truffa, and her sponsor / customer / etc., an additional 100 boxes of assorted cookies will be delivered to the sponsor / customer / etc's home and will be billed accordingly. Muffet's entire demeanor changed from polite hostess to enraged beast in less of a second. Lily's face strained to color. Her cigar fell out of her mouth as she vaulted over the couch and tried to make for the stairs or a window to get away, but was quickly tackled by Mr. Tuffet, who was no longer cheering happily or friendly towards the human girl. My. What to do with you, mon petit Folia? Muffet cooed, cackling to herself. Lily was faintly aware of spiders surrounding her in every possible direction as her heart rate increased to an inhuman pace. You picked the wrong spider to mess with, dearie, Muffet did. Maybe, as punishment, I should give you to my pet to eat. Lily felt like fainting, but none. I think I have something planned specifically for you. Lily suddenly noticed the tip of Muffet's cigar looked as if it was on fire, fueled solely by the fiery rage building inside Muffet. Grinning wickedly, Muffet held up the order phone for the cookies and held it in her stoogie, burning the paper to ash within seconds. Ooh! Oh, that has to hurt. Lily's breathing stopped for a brief moment as she saw the ashes of the paper hit the floor, thinking only of if she didn't act, the next ashes that hit the floor would be hers. Lily gulped in fear and tried to squirm away when she saw Muffet's mandibles escape her mouth and reach out for her legs. I knew it! It was gonna be back to the vor. What was once an accident was now completely on purpose. Lily scratched at the floor and kicked in with every ounce of strength she could muster to get away, but the result was inevitable. Muffet swallowed Lily in one fell swoop, effectively trapping the human girl inside her stomach until a fate could be decided for her. This time in Muffet's stomach seemed more like an eternity than a mere 15 minutes. But then again, fear made someone very disoriented and jumpy. Lily was spit up in the massive backyard in front of this weird purple cannon. Muffet grinned, giggled evilly, and patted the cannon. This, my chérie, is hell. My preferred method to travel for long distances. It was at this moment that Lily knew. She fucked up. Lily briefly pictured herself flattening all over the windshield of the airplane like a bug. Muffet giggled again as a loud cranking sound signified the cannon was being repositioned for the next launch. Lily tried to get up and run, but she found herself pinned by none other than Mr. Tuffet once again. After a few more seconds of cranking, the cannon gave one final crunch, signifying it was locked onto its target. Muffet head snapped over to Lily, revealing a feigned, wicked-looking grin. Load that up, Muffet! Lily screamed as Mr. Tuffet picked her up by the back of the shirt and tossed her inside. The only way was to be blasted out. You can't do this, Lily screamed. Muffet only responded with a giggle. Actually, I can. And I have. Multiple times. As Lily began to freak out more, Muffet giggled to herself as she plunged her ears with the tops of her hands and tapped the lit end of her cigar to the fuse of it with another scent. Fire in the hole, ditties! Muffet cackled as she lit the fuse with her cigar, causing a bright pink color flare as the spark raced towards the end of the fuse. As the fuse went down, Muffet peered into the cannon and popped her own cigar into Lily's mouth. You might want this for later, dearie. She giggled before moving back behind the cannon. Embracing her inevitable death, Lily screamed, Maybe I can get a space badge for this! As she was sent flying into the night sky, from the ground, Muffet raised a hand to her head to shade her eyes and watched as Lily Truffa became nothing more than a twinkle in the sky. Muffet huffed, brushing off invisible dust from her nightgown. Teach that pest to try and scam my spiders from their hard-earned money. Muffet ushered all of her spiders back inside for a good night's rest. After all, they deserved to sleep well because their next task was to figure out how Girl Scout cookies were so addicting and how to incorporate that into their recipes. Elsewhere in space, Lily Truffa sat on a rock, constantly blowing pastry shapes with her cigar smoke, which somehow survived the trip here to this wretched mini-planet, to attract customers to buy the remaining cookies she found she had been jettisoned with. So, I don't know what to think about the story. It's not really that funny. I mean, I really like the idea of a scammer getting her comeuppance. You don't try to scam a scammer because you only get scammed in return. I don't know if that makes sense. It makes sense in my head. I'll keep that. I'll give it a 3 out of 5. It's not bad. It's just I don't think it should be labeled as a humor, except maybe at the end. I probably didn't do a good Muffet. I heard that people actually attack people doing voices of the characters for attacking them and stuff like that. I don't really care about that. But I would like some thoughts. Do you think I did a good Muffet voice? I don't know. I do have an idea for like a dub for a game, but it's not going to be Undertale. No, it's going to be much more cartoony than that. So yeah, that's Muffet versus Girl Scout. I think maybe you should change it to Muffet versus the Girl Scout. That's pretty much the only thing I would change. Just simply add the to the title. I do like the fact the story kind of ends with her just sitting on a rock. Honestly, I think you had a missed opportunity to literally have Sans right next to her, and he's like, "What are you buying?" It's actually pretty funny. I don't think it's bad. I just think it's outside of like the last couple paragraphs. I don't think it was that funny. That's pretty. But then again, humor is subjective, so I can't really blame a humor story for that, because I didn't laugh at it. I thought it was an okay story, not a bad story, but this story is just not really for me. So this has been my reading of Muffet versus Girl Scout. This is Dark Symphony 777, and cut.